This daf Yom Yerushalmi Orlah in the article Oz V'Haradishim on daf Lamedan Amarav Mamish at the top V'Aksi Ken Lo Yachlu in the Vilna around Tez Zayin with base 10 lines for the bottom. The last word in the line is V'Aksi. There's a dot before it. And the next word, say, how can you? So we're in the middle of our question, Rabbi Avo's famous statement that any time it says to lo yachel, lo yachlu, lo tochlu, it also entails an Isra Hana unless specified otherwise. We say that it's not just nach Isra Achil, it's also Isra Hana. So what about Gid HaNosha? V'aksi al ken lachlu b'nei Gid HaNosha. Sounds like so it should be also about Noah. Rabbi Avo said that ki amtia. We sustain it. In other words, we have the source to allow Giranosha Manoah, but Giranosha Shel Nevela by Giranosha of Nevela, because Giranosha of Nevela is part of a Nevela. And said, the Torah said you could sell a Nevela to a goy, and then say, but not the Giranosha. So since you tell the entire carcass to Giranosha to a goy, must be that's mutar b'Noah. V'aksi then said, Lech Mekoliv Karmel Lo Sochlu, says you're not allowed to eat Chodesh until the day of the Korban Omer. He said a fascinating answer. Shani, you should cover lo akosub zman. He says that since Isser Chodesh is a temporary Isser, that it's because mutar, at least on the 17th day of Nisan, after the day of the Korban Omer, its Isser is lighter, it's not Osir Banoah. I think there's a similar Rabbi Yosef angle about something similar, whether to temporary Isurim can be considered an Isser Chefza or only an Isser Gavra. So it's a similar idea. In other words, I think it's talking about things that are also like on Shabbos or Yom Tov only can do Isser Chefza because on Shabbos the Chefetz is Osir, it's an Isser Gavra because it's not Osir any other day. So here too, it seems that the Isser Noah has to do with the Chefza Shel Isser, being something from which you can't derive benefit, and that is since Isser's money, the temporary Isser which falls off, so therefore it can't be. It's certainly not at the same level. Anyway, as they say, Basi Rak Loher. So one wants to take that lumnus in a certain direction. So feel free. Yishmael Chacham Yosef Lekach. V'aksiv doesn't say Lo Sochlu Mikin Sheker. Don't eat shlotzim because they are repugnant. It says. Ramana said, "Mi et Isra Noya Shabo." No, it says in the pasuk it says Lo Sochlum Ki Sheket Heim. I think it says Lochem afterwards. So Ki Sheket Heim Lochem. It says Lochem. Well, that implies it's Lochem. Yeah, it's don't eat it, but still yours. In other words, only Isra Achila, but not Isra Hanoya. Avodah Shem said also Isplanis Mishon Niskal. Okay, so now what happens? Shon Niskal is definitely also Bavo. I know. Okay, so Rabbi Avo said about somebody who makes a plaster, from meaning a bandage and the salve is made from the Shor Niskal, from the chel of the Shor Niskal to put on his wound, or Chamesh Shavuot Pesach, which is also Asabano. Ain't a loka. We don't get markers in this. That there is she'ein losa sesh lo mechuvar. The Isser of using these things for Anoah is not explicit in the Torah. So therefore, it's not explicit in the Torah, so therefore you can't get, even though it's prohibited, you can't get Malchus. It's not allowed for which you get Malchus. So I go back a moment to looking at the footnotes, notes at the back of the Leib Yerushalayim. So about the my Lamdish explanation of the answer by Omer. So the Bavli himself Daf Chav Gimel learned that from Reshit's Kitzir Chem, that Shalachem Yehei, and that also is in line with what we said. The Bavli Yerushalmi also says about the Sheketz Lachem Yeh. About Oisei Splonis, so the Bavli himself in Daf Chav Daled says that the Noyav Chel Shonisko by on his Makkah is not considered to be Derech Hanoso, and that's the Oged Malchus. For Yerushalmi, it's marshal clearly that it is Derech Hanoso. Unless you say that perhaps that there it's you put the chelav as is on the makkah, that's shlo derech hanoso, but here you're making for it a bandage, and that is considered derech hanoso. That doesn't sound right. So therefore, it's more likely to say that is the machlokes whether it's derech hanoso or not. According to the Bavli, it's not the issue real makkahs because it's not derech hanoso. The Yerushalmi holds it is derech hanoso, and therefore we need to have the statement that but the lav is not explicit in the Torah. So therefore, it's not. That's Malchus from Hanoah. Now, those things are both the contradistinctions in the next thing. Mikili Akerem, if you make your isplanis from Kili Akerem, like it. The Amar Bechina said, Pentukdash, it says, don't allow the Kilai to go together. Pentukdash. So then we learn from that Pentukad Eish, right? And the Lashon of Pen Pentukad Eish means it's going to become you're going to have to burn a fire because that's about no. And Pen is one of the Lashonis in the Torah of Los Hasei. Lest means don't do it. So therefore, that's an explicit Los Hasei. We'll get malchus from that. Me Orlah. What he made from Orlah. So that's Tzvicha. That's a Tzorchian. That requires further analysis. Why? Also, it's a say. It's a mission. The Lashon in the Torah in Vayikra Tesai is Yelachem Arilim. Okay, that is clearly Asabar. No, but that's a mitzvah say. The Lav is in Lashon of Achila, Lo Yeachel. It's not explicit, I know. And this, by the way, is all this is Rabbi Avo clarifying that according to his shita, he said before that lo yochlu, lo sochlu is a lot. It also includes hanoah. He's clarifying for us that even though it also includes hanoah, it's not mechuvar. It's not explicit in the Torah the isser of hanoah. It's only inferred from from our understanding of the word lo sochlu to include hanoah. So therefore, there's no malchus on hanoah, only on the chila. So therefore, here it says the asay is l'rach koksiv. Lo sesel ochoksiv, lo sesel l'rach loksiv. There's a mitzvah say to distance him from hanoah, but there's no lo sasay. The lo sasay which is written on achila, not on the harchaka of hanoah. Okay, so now the Gemara says Maslisa pliga al Rabbi Yochanan. The following Mishnah seems to argue Rabbi Yochanan on on this yisoid, which we said that lo yochu, lo sochlu, etc. By both said his name is always mashma lo saseh. Sure. Since it says this price actually is a price that's been probably several times. It says by an ox that's gored somebody to death. So don't I know that the flesh is also to eat? Obviously, it's also you stoned it, you didn't shecht it. So so mata mulomar why did it say lechos b'saro? Lo diachla tells us shem shu oser ba'achila tells us just like it's oser ba'achila, it's also kach oser ba'noah, it's also oven, it's also oser ba'noah. So the according to Rabbi Yochanan, I made a mistake. After this arguing Rabbi Yochanan about the lav of achila, that the lav of achila implies it's anoya, but that's not true. Here it does imply here that does work here. It says that lo yachal does asa b'anoya. The question is rather, why don't you get? It seems to be explicit in the Torah. So why did he say that you don't get malchus on this planis of Shor Niskal? That's the question. My Lord Rabbi Yochanan, the lav is mechuver. Why did you get malchus? So pasalok should mu abalim shachtu. Here it says actually Mardina, but then that would be mutabano. It means achasha. The Rashvil, the Rafulda, the Yerushalmi will change it to la'achashnik Mardina. Shachtu la'achashnik Mardina. So the answer is that lav in the Torah is also not mechuver fanoah, because that even though we just said it's an eino inyan. Right, so it's you don't need it because obviously sure it's also b'achila, so therefore must be going to ask hanoah. So no, it's going to tell us that it's also b'achila even if you didn't do skila kedin. It's even if you shecht it, then nevertheless it's also b'hanoah. So the It's Asr Achila, I'm sorry. It's Asr Achila. So it's coming to tell us that an Isra Achila, under the, even where you shechted it, it's in the Hana, is implicit, because of Lo Yochlu implying Hana, but it's not the explicit in the Torah. So it's interesting because it seems Rabbi Yochanan Orlah is maybe actually arguing on the Brisa, which because the Brisa seems to be explicit. So the article actually talks about that in note 21. How could Rabbi Yochanan argue on the Brisa? I believe I forgot who talks about it, but years ago I saw that somewhere, maybe it's Yad Malachi or someone, that in a pinch, even Rabbi Yochanan and Shmuel are Tanoim Uplige. I get, obviously I'm Mishnayos like Rav, but they have this a certain leeway to argue on brises. The article brings down that there's an alternative brisa which goes like Rabbi Yochanan, which brought down the Bavli Psachim, but the Sham it's masha that Rabbi Yochanan can argue in a brisa and get away with it, so to speak. Okay. Says the Gemara further. Rabbi Zir boy Rabbi Kumi Rabbi Vo. Rabbi Zir asked for Rabbi Vo. Hachat Amarachain. So you said before Lo Sachal is mashma also Isra no. But here you say it's not explicit, right? Hachat Amarachain. That yes, it's mashma Isra no, but it's not mechuvar. So how do you reconcile the two? So he says, I'll tell you. You're right. It's a good question. So even though it's not, it's taka two different. I have two different Messiahs, which are in each other. Not like I attempted to reconcile before to say that yes, it's implicit, but it's not explicit. So therefore, you won't get malchus. He says no. He says the Rabbi Yochanan says one of them that which I said. That Echad Isachil Echad Isanoah Mamashma is Rabbi Eliezer, and that which I said that you don't get local because not mechuvar, it's the name of Rabbi Yochanan. So until now we thought Rabbi Vo, when he said Ein mechuvar, is explaining what I said before. Turns out not. Surprise. One is Rabbi Eliezer, one is Rabbi Yochanan, one is Rabbi Eliezer. But when I started had a different understanding as what's Rabbi Vo. Rabbi Yochanan would say that Ravo said B'Shem Yochanan Komakom Shneimar Lo Sochlu with a cholam. Ein Atayvus Isar Noach Isar Chilo. They say that there it's not it's only Masha Isar Chilo, not Isar Noach. There's a gears to change here based on the Yerushalmi Psachim. Lo sochal lo yeachel at toives isa noach Israel chochila. That should be put in here. Lo sochal lo yeachel at toives isa noach Israel. In no case Israel noach, there is an Israel noach, just like there is an Israel chila. And then binyan av shepukulan, and the binyan av, in other words, the source from which we learn it, and this is important to understand that it's low. I read it wrong. Lots of mistakes today. That's because no nakudas here. It should be the additional part which I put in should be lo seachel, lo yeachel. It's also in the Bavli. Atoifes isar where there's a tzeire. Where there's a cholam and there's no isar no. When there's a tzeire, then isar no is like isar chila. And the binyan av shebukulan v'chol chatos shivami damel omay l'chaper b'kodesh lo seachel b'yish tisarev. There it says anytime when you bring from the blood to the oil moed to mechaper b'chodesh, it should not be there's no, you're not allowed to eat from a chatos where there's dami pnimim, where the blood is sprinkled inside the kodesh, and it says b'yish tisarev. So we say Ba'esh Yisrael is interpretation of Lo Seachel. That where it says Lo Seachel Tzere, it means Ba'esh Yisrael, it's also Bahanoya. That's the being of. In other words, Torah is explicit in one place, and from there we extrapolate to other places. Tiny Chizkiya Meseil Rabbi Yochanan. So the Chizkiya brought a raya. Actually, let me add that. Any place that says Lo Seichel, but Tzera includes Chometz, but Bam Pesach and Shor Niskal, that they're also by Noah as well, because it says it with a Tzera. Okay, so Tani Chizkiya Meseil Rabbi Yochanan. Chizkiya Meseil Rabbi Yochanan, from all those places where it says Lo Sochal, with a Cholam, and you don't need a pasuk to imata them Manoah, it means it must be that we don't darshan Isra Noah, and it's used for drasha, another for drasha. So this, the Mesorah of Rabbanan the Kesarin and Rabbi Avo and name Rabbi Yochanan, that there's this distinction. That's what Chizkiya is trying to prove. So it's Masha Shnei Kol Chelev Shor V'Kesav Eis Lo Sochlu. Says with a cholam. Says Shor Kesav Eis Lo Sochlu. Leiz Dover Nemer Chel Nevel V'Chel Shefo Yasel Chol Malacha. Why is it says just don't eat it? Right? So why does it have to tell me that? And you can use Chel Trefa and Chel Nevela to do malacha. Right? What's the chiddush? It's pashut, right? So it says lo sochlu. So the Bali Yachal comes to tell us afilu limleches gavoa, that you can use the chelev nevela and chelev trefa even for the even to work the hides of kachim. And then because the nevela trefa you can't use it for that purpose. Also rakadam lo sochlu. It also says blood you should not eat. Why is it obviously if you can't eat it, all you can do is cannot eat it. Why I say you have to why I make the hekesh to water. So water is just like water is machshir, also dam is machshir. Now if we were going like in both these cases, there's in the third case, but let's read the third case first. To the ger in your gate, you should give it and he should eat it. That's good. It says don't eat any nevela. Why is it to give it to the ger and he'll eat it? But the comes to tell us ger ochel nevela. So again, it's what's about no. Why do you have to tell me that ger can eat it? It's obviously that you give it to a ger. It's obviously a ger you can give it to a ger because it's mutzah by Noah. So it's going to tell us the ger toisha can eat nevelos. That he's not mitzvah nevelos. Mashnemar basar b'sada treifa lo sochelu lo sochlu. Shouldn't eat basar b'sada treifa. Let's don't remember kav tashichan also. Why is it kav tashichan also? It's pashut. You can throw it to a dog. It says lo sochlu. So isra achila, not isra noah. It says osa tamash kelev. That you can throw it to a dog. V'yata mash chulin shtishul v'zara not chulin, which is slaughtered in azara. That's even though it's possible, it can't be thrown to a dog. Okay, so now all those cases are evidence for this new version of Rabbi Yochanan, that lo sochlu does not include Isra Noah, because otherwise, what are you asking? We said yesterday's Gemara that, or we said previous Gemara, that all these cases are necessary to have the mute because lo sochlu also include Isra Noah, like the first version of Rabbi Avo. So therefore, yes, you need all these additional statements. This Bryce is telling us you don't need all these additional statements. They come to teach something else. Teach us something else in each case. So clearly, this Bryce is going that lo sochlu in and of itself doesn't imply any Yisra Noah. And therefore, all these additional psukim are superfluous. They must come to teach us something else. So this is a raya to Rabban Kesarin's version of Rabbi Yochanan, which not lo sochlu. It does not include Isra Noah, only lo yeachel, only not with the cholam, only with the tzeri. I believe this is basically parallel in the Bavli Psachim. Okay, long day today. We'll stop here for today. There's only mamish at the top of the next but that was enough.